Senator Richard Stevens of Wade County helped write this budget. Senator, how much of this budget was written knowing you have to deal with the House as the first step?
Well, any budget is a negotiating instrument with the other chamber and, of course, ultimately with the governor. The Senate puts forward its best estimates and best perspective on the state government. But there are other perspectives in the other chamber, and of course the governor has even different perspectives. And at the end of the day, hopefully we'll all come together and reach common consensus.
How do you reach that balance between putting your political philosophy into such a big bill versus following the money and seeing where it goes and where it runs out?
In developing the Senate version of the budget, we started out with, first of all, a very major issue, and that was a $2.5 billion deficit. And there's, of course, as you know, a reason for that deficit. It was the fact that much money was put into the budget from one-time sources, which went away. We all hoped the recession would have been over by now. It isn't. And the state still faces that deficit. So the first issue was, how do you fill that deficit? The second was, how do you meet the needs of the state? We have important and significant needs for education, for health and human services, for protecting the environment, and so forth. So that's the second part. The third part is, of course, how do you mesh all of that and balance all of that, I should say. Not taking an approach of just cutting everything by the percent of your deficit. That would have been the wrong approach. So we spent a lot of time going over item by item so that some will increase, some will stay the same, and a fair number decrease, but not by equal amounts.
Why are you opposed to across-the-board cuts?
Well, first of all, that assumes that everything the state government's doing is exactly right. Everything they're doing is exactly right, and therefore you just cut it by the amount of money you have less.
And the Democrats are out there, they're zeroing in on your education spending plan because it cuts money from education. They use all the adjectives. What do you say back to them about the Republican vision for public education in lieu of the education funding cuts?
The current vision hasn't worked. As I said yesterday, we've used every...
What is that vision, by the way? What didn't work, and what was the vision that didn't work?
We tried numerous programs. I said yesterday we tried every letter of the alphabet, starting with the ABC program years and years ago, some 20 years ago, to try to reform public education. And the result today is not much different than it was 10 years ago, and that is 100 young people start the 9th grade. Today, 70 will graduate from high school. That is unacceptable. That's a system that's not working. One of the reasons it's not working is kids are not reading by the time they get to the 3rd grade. That is a critical step in a person's life and their successability in school, is to be able to read by the 3rd grade. So the Senate budget proposal reforms education, lowers class size in those grades, reduces requirements on teachers, less paperwork, less testing, and provides the tools for the educators to be able to concentrate on those critical early years.
You'll have teaching assistant jobs that will be defunded in the Senate and House budget, particularly the Senate budget. What's the trade-off going to be like if you're a parent of an elementary school child? They lose a teaching assistant, but you say you're hiring 1,100 new school teachers.
Mm-hmm. The evidence that we have seen is that while I'm sure some teachers enjoy having a teacher assistant, that in terms of adding to the educational experience of the child, there's not significant data that shows that does that. We think lower class size is a considerable body of evidence that says that helps. We think a longer school day will help. In addition, the Senate plan adds 5 more days to the school day. We're one of the shortest school years in the developed world. Many countries now go to school 200, 220, even 225 days a year. We go 180 based on the old farming calendar of you're out in the summer to work on the crops if you're a child. We're trying to extend that day with adding 5 more days back to the calendar.
Senator Stevens, we'll probably have you back on because there'll be a couple more negotiating days ahead of you, and we'll be following it. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Always good to see you.